Hello, I chose Amy Lowell, a poet, for my author, and Amy was born February 9th, 1874, in Boston, Massachusetts, and she had three siblings that lived with her in her house with her mom and her dad. And during school, when she started formal school, she didn't really look forward to going to formal school because she would get made fun of a lot, and she thought that she was developing masculine and ugly features, which a lot of the kids would give her a hard time for. And this didn't really help her confidence or her ability to make any friends or socialize. And despite this, still she was very outspoken and opinionated in school, and she was never really afraid to let her feelings be known, whether that came with consequences or not. And she never got to finish formal school. She went to a few private schools, but she never went to college because her parents said that college was not ladylike and it wasn't a place for a woman to go. So instead of going to college after her formal school, she instead read a ton of books. Her dad had a collection of 7,000 books in their library, so she would read a lot, and she even started to collect books. And so she was able to read so much and learn a lot because of her dad's extensive collection of books in their home library. And since school and socialization wasn't really her strong suit, she turned to poetry in 1902, and she was mostly inspired by Eleanor Duse in Europe. And I don't know if she knew how important poetry or literature would play in her life, but it ended up being a huge part of her life. She would end up producing a lot of poems, hundreds of poems, and it just ended up being a huge part of her life and helped her develop confidence in a time where women weren't looked at in the literature space. Along with that, she was also thought to be a lesbian. This was kind of thought by the outside people. She had developed a relationship with an actress named Ada Dwyer, and some people said that they were together romantically, and some people said that they had a platonic relationship. And Ada was thought to be the subject of many of Amy's poems. So they didn't know if they were dating or not, but there was a lot of rumors that they were together, which made it even harder, the criticism that Amy Lowell took. And even though some people said that they definitely weren't dating, that there was definitely some things to suggest they were, including being the subject of many of her poems. And like many women in the literature space back then, she was met with a ton of criticism about it, not only just being a woman, but also the possible lesbian relationship she was in that time. And when she was younger, she cared a lot about her appearance. She would have been made fun of for it, including her masculine and ugly features, as she said. And she just received a lot of criticism, but she was short, imposing, and she often smoked cigars. And she just didn't really have a good perception by a lot of the people, especially men in the space. And during this time, there was a ton of ammo for her critics because of all the things she did, and she was very opinionated and outspoken. And she ended up being a very influential figure in women's literature. I would say that she didn't get to experience most of the praise from her work while she was alive, but she definitely did get a lot of gratitude and admiration after her passing. But her work is definitely recognized today. After World War I, her work and herself kind of faded into the background, but women's studies brought her back, and she had a lot of fans that always defended her while she was alive and even defended her up until the day of her death and after. And they never forgot about her or her work and would always defend her. But her work was definitely brought back to the mainstream after her death. Some of her works include A Dome of Many Colored Glass, Sword of Blades and Poppy Seed, Men, Women, and Ghosts, and East Wind. Like I said before, she wrote a lot of poems, hundreds of them, and she's just a really influential figure in women by literature. She's very prominent in literature and will continue to be for many years to come. Thank you.